Hey everyone, I'm just outside right now and I'm trying to enjoy the longest day of the year, but it's rainy and windy. It's time to go inside. But one of the things that was on my mind today is that it's a pretty intimidating time right now to be an employer and hiring people. And here's why. You've got two things going on. First of all, a lot of places are beginning to ramp up again and hire a lot of people after things are opening up after the pandemic. So it's pretty intimidating to have a lot of job openings and thinking about how are you going to fill them the best way possible. But here's the other thing employers are facing today. There's this phenomenon called the Great Resignation. Lots of workplace surveys out there are showing that upwards of 40%, nearly half of all workers, are actually thinking about quitting their job. Some of them want to find greater purpose. Some of them want different work from home rules. There's many reasons for people doing this. But the bottom line is that for an employer already trying to fill positions, to be faced with more people resigning and even more jobs to fill, that it gets really scary and intimidating. And the temptation is just to put people in places just so you can say it's done. But I don't think that that's the way to go. So I put some thought into this as to 3 quick ways that employers can respond to the Great Resignation. And here's what I came up with. The first one is you should let them leave. I know that seems counterintuitive. You're probably like, what do you mean let them leave? I don't want people to leave. I want them to stay. And I understand that, and it's scary. But the thing is that once somebody's made up their mind that they need to make a change, there's probably not a lot that you can do to keep them around. I hate to say it, but once people make up their minds, I mean, sometimes it's worth asking if there's anything that could change that would make them interested in staying. But a lot of times people make these decisions for deeper reasons than anything that you can fix. So when you find out that somebody is thinking about leaving your organization, I say support them in that. Support them in that. Here's why. First of all, if you can genuinely support them in that, I mean, and doing it for more reasons than just a self-serving strategy, if you can genuinely support them in that, people will trust you as a leader. You'll build trust with your team that's staying behind. You'll build trust with the person that's leaving because they know that you're willing to put their needs before yours. And people trust leaders that are willing to do that because they know that they're going to be supported and that you're not going to cast them aside for your own career gain. So some of the ways that you can do that is if they tell you before they've actually got a job, like before they're even resigning, that they're thinking about leaving, offer your support. Tell them that you're going to help them with that, however they need. You know, if they need a letter of reference, so long as they're referable. I mean, you don't want to give everybody a letter of reference if they're not somebody that was doing a great job for you. Give them a letter of reference. If they need to step out for a few minutes to take a phone call or an interview, hey, I would recommend doing that too. So long as they're doing a great job for you while they're there, then that's no problem. And so long as they let you know once they're ready and they made their choice and they continue doing a great job for you, I don't see any threat to you by being open with them and supporting them in that. If they have decided that they're going to resign and they come to you and let you know, support them, congratulate them, tell them that you're happy for them. And if they did a great job for you, even hold a little get together at the end where everybody can come say goodbye and thank them for their efforts. If you do these things genuinely, then your reputation is going to be really good. And the result is this, is that people are going to see that you're somebody that puts them first before yourself. And the amount of people that are going to try to resign from working with you is actually going to go down. It is. So I know it can be scary when somebody does that, but you know what? If you can support your people and celebrate your people and be there for your people, then what's going to happen is that your reputation in the community is going to go higher and those people will continue supporting you even if they're not in that workplace. And I know it doesn't feel that way because they're leaving you, but the truth is that they'll always talk about the great boss they had and people are going to want to work for you. The second thing that you should do to respond to the Great Resignation is this. Why don't you go take a look at the value proposition of working for you? So here's what I mean by that. People are going to work for you if they can make money, right? And I don't mean in a self-serving, want to get rich kind of way, but just they need to be comfortable and they need to live. And the other thing is that they need to be fulfilled by their time with you or by working with you. So check your value proposition on those 2 fronts. Now here's 2 strategies that you can take to do that. The first is this. Go take a look at what you're paying people compared to other people or other employers in your industry. Now, if you have a great culture, a lot of times people are willing to accept less pay. So I'm not suggesting that you need to like overpay people like crazy, because that would also actually create the reverse kind of culture, an entitled culture. But what you do want to do is you want to make sure that people can live comfortably working with you, or at least be at the, close to the top end of salaries and wages in your field. You don't need to necessarily go into the strategy of completely blowing people away, but you need to be competitive too. So see how you're offering value that way. The second way that you should see that you're offering value, and I actually think that this is more impactful, is check your culture. People need to feel connected by what they do with you. They need to feel like they are competent in what they do, and they have to feel like they have autonomy, or that they have your trust in what they do. Measure your culture. Maybe do a culture survey in your workplace to see how you're doing in those areas, because if you can deliver on those areas, those are the things that people need fulfillment for when they work with you. So if you can check your value proposition when it comes to compensation and culture, then what's going to happen in the face of the Great Resignation is that less people are going to feel the need to resign from your organization. You can make sure that you're going to have less jobs to fill by doing that as well. Here's the last thing that I think you need to do to respond to the Great Resignation. You need to view it as an insanely disguised opportunity. Here's what I mean by that. I get it. There's lots of jobs that you might have to fill. It can be pretty scary. It can be pretty daunting. But you know what? It's a totally new opportunity to start with like a sort of a blank canvas and fill it with the way you need to for your organization. I know it's going to be a lot of work. I know it's going to be tough. And I know it's intimidating when you look at all those job openings, but you know what? I look at it as a great opportunity to find people who are going to be passionate about your business, who are going to be self-motivated and with great attitudes, and going to be fulfilled by what you need them to do, or what they need to do if they work with you. So here's how you can turn that opportunity for yourself. Take a look at your job descriptions that you're posting. There's different techniques that you can use to make sure that they're signaling to the right type of candidate that's going to really enjoy the work that you have for them. And make sure that you're sourcing them in areas where they hang out, so to speak. So is it on the job posting boards where they're likely to visit? Is there other areas on the internet where people in that field or might be fulfilled by what you do hang out? So that way you can get the word out that you're hiring. The other thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that your interview guides are going to be finding self-motivated people with great attitudes who are passionate about what it is that you do. So you can actually create an interview guide and get trained in interviewing to find out if you're interviewing somebody who is just kind of talking the talk, or if it's somebody who's going to walk the walk. And what I mean by that is that, are they going to have a great attitude? Are they going to have a willingness to learn? Are they going to be self-motivated when they face roadblocks, or try to get up again when they fail and overcome the failure the next time around? And there's a way that you can find out who is doing that, who can do that, for real for you, and who is just kind of giving you what you want to hear in an interview. The second thing that you can do in that interview guide is you can also ask questions that are going to get to the bottom of whether or not they're actually going to enjoy what it is that you offer at your organization. They're going to feel fulfilled by that, if they're going to have passion for that. If you've got somebody who's passionate about what you do and with a great attitude, and you can get them working in your organization, then I look at the Great Resignation as an insanely disguised opportunity for you to improve your organization, because the people who are leaving are great people, but they no longer have that passion for what you do. So this is a great chance for you to go to the next level with the people in your organization. But here's the other thing. These 3 tips are not necessarily things that you should just do when there is a crisis or during the Great Resignation. You should be doing this every day, or I get it, you can't review your processes every day, but you should be regularly looking at your value proposition. You should be regularly looking at your hiring processes to make sure you're getting it as good as you possibly can, or getting it right, not only when there's a crisis or there's a Great Resignation happening. Don't get me wrong, if you're not doing this now, then now's a great time to start, especially with everything going on, but I would tell you to do your best to start doing this on a regular basis, and to get really involved in people and making sure you have the right people there. Anyway, if you follow this advice, here's my promise. The Great Resignation, will it take some work to get through? You betcha. But you know what? You can ask yourself no matter what you do, it's going to be hard, right? So you can either put in the work now and it'll be hard, or you can have the wrong people and it'll be hard. So you got to pick which hard you have. And my promise to you is that if you do the right thing from a long-term basis, and you put these strategies in play because you're looking at the long-term benefits that they'll have for your organization, you can go from having, dismotivated, unmotivated people for the jobs that you offer, that aren't passionate about what you do, to having a robust and vibrant organization full of people that want to help you meet your goals. Anyway, it's scary. It doesn't have to be.